Good afternoon. This is Felix, and I am going to be reading Ezra chapter 4 and 5. I don't think that we hear enough Ezra. So let me put on my kippah and pray the blessing for studying Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav Lasok bi divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with the commandments and commanded us to engage in words of Torah. Okay, so here we are in chapter 4. When the adversaries of Yehuda and Benjamin heard that the returned exiles were building a temple to God of Israel, they approached Zerubbabel and the chiefs of the clans and said to them, "Let us build with you, since we too worship your God, having offered sacrifices to him since the time of King Esarhaddon of Assyria, who brought us here." Zerubbabel, Yeshua, and the rest of the chiefs of the clans of Israel answered them, "It is not for you and us to build a house to our God, but we alone will build it to God of it, to Israel, in accord with the charge that the King Cyrus of Persia has laid upon us." Thereupon the people of the land undermined the resolve of the people of Yehuda and made them afraid to build. They bribed ministers in order to thwart their plans all the years of King Cyrus of Persia and until the reign of King Darius of Persia. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, at the start of his reign, they drew up an accusation against the inhabitants of Yehuda and Jerusalem. And in the time of Artaxerxes, Bishlam, Mithridath, Tabeel, and the rest of their colleagues wrote to King Artaxerxes of Persia a letter written in Aramaic and translated. I think that... No, that's not him. I was going to say I thought that was Queen Esther's King of Persia, but I don't think so. Anyway, Rehum the commissioner and Shimshai the scribe wrote a letter concerning Jerusalem to King Artaxerxes as follows. Then Rehum the commissioner and Shimshai the scribe and the rest of their colleagues, the judges, officials, officers, and overseers, the men of Erech and of Babylon and of Susa, that is, the Elamites, and other peoples whom the great and glorious Osnappar deported and settled in the city of Shomron and the rest of the province beyond the river, wrote, and now this is the text of the letter which they sent to him. To King Artaxerxes, from your servants, men of the province beyond the river, and now be it known to the king that the Yehudim who came up from you to us have reached Jerusalem and are rebuilding that rebellious and wicked city. They are completing the walls and repairing the foundation. Now be it known to the king that if this city is rebuilt and the walls completed, that they will not pay tribute, poll tax, or land tax, and in the end it will harm the kingdom. Now, since we eat the salt of the palace, and it is not right that we should see the king dishonored, we have written to advise the king of this, so that you may search the records of your fathers and find in the records and know that this city is a rebellious city, harmful to kings and states. Sedition has been rife in it from early times, and on that account this city was destroyed. We advise the king that if this city is rebuilt and its walls are complete, you will no longer have any portion in the province beyond the river. The king sent back the following message to Rehum the commissioner and Shimshai the scribe. and the rest of their colleagues who dwell in Shomron and in the rest of the province of beyond the river, greetings. Now the letter that you wrote me has been read to me in translation. At my order a search has been made, and it has been found that this city has from earliest times risen against kings, and that rebellion and sedition have been rife in it. Powerful kings have ruled over Jerusalem and exercised authority over the whole province of beyond the river, and tribute, poll tax, and land tax were paid to them. Now issue an order to stop these men. This city is not to be rebuilt until I so order. Take care not to be lax in this matter, or there will be much damage and harm to the kingdom. When the text of the letter of King Artaxerxes was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe and their colleagues, they hurried to Jerusalem to the Yehudim and stopped them by main force. At that time, work on the house of Hashem in Jerusalem stopped and remained in abeyance until the second year of the reign of King Darius of Persia. Then the Nevi'im, which means prophets, Haggai the Navi and Zechariah, son of Iddo, prophesied to the Yehudim in Yehuda and Jerusalem, inspired by the God of Israel. Thereupon Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, began rebuilding the house of Hashem in Jerusalem with the full support of the Nevi'im of Hashem. I want to say I think that maybe Zerubbabel could have been the prophet Daniel, but I'm not sure. Anyway, at once Tattenai, governor of the province of beyond the river, Shethar-Bozenai, and their colleagues descended upon them and said this to them: Who issued orders to you to rebuild this house and complete its furnishing? Then we said to them, What are the names of the men who are engaged in the building? But Hashem watched over the elders of the Yehudim, and they were not stopped while a report went to Darius and a letter was sent back in reply to it. This is the text of the letter that Tattenai, governor of the province of beyond the river, and Shethar-Bozenai and his colleagues and the officials of beyond the river sent to King Darius. They sent a message to him, and this is what is written in it. To King Darius, greetings, and so forth. Be it known to the king that we went to the province of Yehuda, to the house of the great Hashem. It is being rebuilt of hewn stone, and wood is being laid in the walls. The work is being done with dispatch and is going well. Thereupon, we directed this question to these elders: Who issued orders to you to rebuild this house and to complete its furnishings? We also asked their names so that we could write down the names of their leaders for your information. And this is what they answered us. We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth. We are rebuilding the house that was originally built many years ago. A great king of Israel built it and completed it. But because our fathers angered the God of heaven, he handed them over to Nebuchadnezzar the Chaldean, king of Babylon, who demolished this house and exiled the people to Babylon. But in the first year of King Cyrus the Babylon, King Cyrus issued an order to rebuild this house of Hashem. Also the silver and gold vessels of the house of Hashem that Nebuchadnezzar had taken away from the temple in Jerusalem and brought to the temple in Babylon, King Cyrus released them from the temple in Babylon to be given to the one called Sheshbazzar, whom he had appointed governor. He said to him, Take these vessels, go deposit them in the temple in Jerusalem, and let the house of Hashem be rebuilt on its original site. That same Shabbat, Sheshbazzar then came and laid the foundations for the house of Hashem in Jerusalem, and ever since then it has been under construction, but it is not yet finished. And now, if it please the king, let the royal archives there in Babylon be searched to see whether indeed an order had been issued by King Cyrus to rebuild this house of Hashem in Jerusalem. May the king convey to us his pleasure in this matter. Oh, chapter 6 is going to be long. I'll probably start that maybe later today or tomorrow. Thank you very much and have a good day.